And we are ready for a reading lesson today. Well, we're going to do a skill station day today, and we're going to learn about something called main idea and supporting details. It's really pretty easy, and it's a pretty short lesson today too. We're not going to be reading any stories in our book, so you're only going to need your work text, the one that you write in, okay? All right, take a look at these supplies right up here on the screen. What kind of supplies are those? Art supplies, right? Well, if I asked you to write a paragraph about those, what would you write about? Would you write about maybe an artist? Maybe taking an art class? Or you might even write about giving instructions on how to do a project, maybe an art project or something. Do you think? It's possible to write a lot of different paragraphs from one idea, isn't it? Who decides which idea a paragraph will be about? Is it the reader who decides? No, it's the writer. The writer of the paragraph gets to decide what it's going to be about. A writer tries to tell us his idea with words and sentences. It's up to a reader to get the writer's message. But do you know how to get the writer's message? When you read a paragraph, do you know how to get what the guy or the girl is trying to say? Well, let's look at a different page here. Let me see if I can bring this one up right here. Let's take a look at this. Well, I'm going to zoom in. Look at that. See this? This is some art things right here. Now, this is a paragraph about art supplies, okay? So I'm going to read this paragraph to you, and I need you to listen, okay? And I want you to find out who this is about and what's so special, okay? The artists who create watercolor illustrations for your reading books use many different tools to complete them. Most use mechanical pencils to sketch a line drawing onto paper. Sometimes a machine called an artograph is then used to project the line drawing onto heavy watercolor paper for final drawing and painting. White drafting paper or staples secure the second drawing to a sturdy backing board. To apply paint and create textures, the artist might use several sizes of red sable paintbrushes, colored pencils, a toothbrush, salt, a sponge, or even the edge of a razor blade. To mix the watercolors to just the right shades of color, the artist adds water to paints on an artist's palette. But that's not all. Add one more tool to the artist's toolbox. Sometimes to dry a painting, the artist uses a hair dryer. Wow. So whom is this paragraph about? It's about the artists that create the paintings in your book. Right here. The artists who create the illustrations for your reading books. That's whom it's about. That's who it's about. But what special thing does the paragraph tell about? What about the artists who do the pictures? What about them? It tells how they use lots of different items and tools to create those, right? So which sentence in this gives the main idea? It was this very first sentence. It told us who it was about. The artists who create watercolor illustrations for your reading books use many different tools to complete them. So this paragraph right here, the very first sentence tells us everything we need to know about what this paragraph is about. It tells us who it's about and what about them, right? So it was the first one. Now, sometimes the first sentence of a paragraph tells the main idea, but what about all these other sentences? You got to have other sentences. Do you know what those are called? Those are called supporting details. Supporting details are all these other sentences. You remember the first sentence tells us the main idea, who it's about and what about them. The other ones are just sentences that support this. In other words, it tells about this. It tells in more detail. They're added details. That's why they're called supporting details, because it's things that tell about the main idea. Okay? All right, good deal. Can you get your book out, your work textbook that you write in? And since this is a skill station day, the pages that we're going to do are at the very back, well, close to the very back, on pages 216 and 217. Can you turn back there for me? My map is gone. It fell. I'm so mad, but that's okay. I'll find something really cool to put back here because it looks kind of bare. Okay, let's look at our page. On page 216, it says finding the main idea. All right, so what we're going to do is I'm going to read this first paragraph here about maps. I'm going to read it to you, and then we're going to talk about it, see if we can find the main idea. Remember, to find the main idea, you have to ask two questions. Who is this about, and what's so special? What about them? That's the answers to that is the main idea of the paragraph. The other sentences then will be supporting details. So it says maps come in different shapes and sizes and can give the reader many different types of information. Some maps include roads and highways to help the map reader find his way in unfamiliar territory. Other maps may show the boundaries of countries, states, or counties. Another type of map may emphasize the physical features of an area of the world. Many kinds of information can be shown on a map, and sometimes more than one type of information will appear. All right, so we just read that. So we're going to think about the main idea. And sometimes it's kind of hard to tell is this a supporting detail or is this the main idea? But even though it's hard to kind of tell between those sometimes, there's questions that we can ask. And that first question is, what's the main idea of this paragraph? Think about who it is this paragraph is about and what's so special. So, who is this about, or what is this about? It's about maps, and they come in all different shapes and sizes, right? That's the main idea. So, look at the first sentence in that paragraph. It tells us what we need to know. Maps come in different shapes and sizes and can give the reader many different types of information. So the main idea of this paragraph is that sentence. Can you underline that main idea, that very first sentence? Maps come in different shapes and sizes and can give the reader many different types of information. It tells us who it's about, which maps is not a who, but what it's about, and what about them. It's about maps, and they come in different shapes and sizes. All the rest of those sentences in there are what we call supporting details. Now, you see where it says identifying the details on your page right in the center? So it says to read the paragraph, which we already did. And in the statement, oh no, this is a new paragraph. It's about sharks. Sorry. So we're going to read this paragraph, and then there's 4 sentences over on the side. And those sentences are from this paragraph. And if it's a supporting detail, we put an S. If it's the main idea, we put an M. So let's read this. Sharks can be identified in various ways. One way to distinguish a shark from another fish is by looking at the gill openings. A shark has 5 or more gill openings. The openings look like slits on each side of the shark's body. Also, the shark's skin is not scaly, but is covered with tiny hard bumps. Most fish have 1 row of teeth. The shark has 2. Since you have to be close to see these differences, identifying a shark is much safer when it's in an aquarium. So let's look at those 4 sentences right up there on the side. Okay, it says, well, first of all, let's think about what the main idea. Okay, who or what's it about? It's about sharks. Well, what about them? How to identify them, right? Because it's telling us when you look at them how to identify what the shark is. Is there a sentence that tells about that? Can you see the third sentence? There are several ways to identify a shark. You see that one over there? Put an M there because that is the main idea. And remember, that's the very first sentence in the paragraph also. So we can just put S's beside the rest because we know the rest of them are just supporting details. A shark's body is covered with tiny hard bumps. That's just a supporting detail. It's safer to identify a shark in an aquarium. Supporting detail. And sharks have 5 or more gill openings. Another supporting detail. Those are just supporting details. So it's easy to find the main idea. Wouldn't you agree? Okay. I want you to see if you can do page 217 by yourself. You're just going to read these little tiny paragraphs. They're little tiny. Just read those and then see if you can mark M for the main idea and put S's beside the other ones for the supporting details, okay? See if you can do that right quick. Did you finish page 217? I hope you did. All right. Can I go over that with you right quick? Can you check these yourself? All right. On the first one about zebras, the first one is S, and then M, and then S. Now the middle one, the one about yellow jackets, it should be S, S, M. And the third one about map scales, it should be M, S, S. I hope you got those right. You don't have to turn this page into me. I just want to make sure that you get those right, okay? All right, that's all for today.